In some towns, gambling wasn't just found on Main Street. It seemed to be the biggest business on Main Street.
On the main street of Butte, which is Park and Main Street, there was 5 gambling joints between the 4 corners.
In 1931, in an attempt to generate money from tourism, Nevada became the first state to legalize gambling. But that didn't set off a rush to the desert.
It took the old-timers who grew up in this business to make Vegas what it is today. I mean, not that any of them were sterling characters.
The legacy of the famous clubs along the Strip, from the Tropicana to the Stardust, started far from the neon of the Las Vegas Valley. All around the country, gaming was thriving. Clubs like the Grove in Louisiana began to design themselves after supper clubs and added shishi restaurants, live music, and dance halls to create a more upscale atmosphere. The Beverly Hills Supper Club, quietly tucked away in Newport, just south of Cincinnati across the Ohio River, followed this game plan. The club opened in 1937 and touted itself as the showplace of the nation. It was big, plush, and well protected.
Newport had been running for like 60 years, and all the gangsters would come there and hide out. It was one of the finest nightclubs in the whole country. Beautiful. The setting was beautiful, was up on a hill. The interior was great. And you couldn't get in there unless you had a coat and a tie on.
You had to go through about 5 or 6 doors and 3 or 4 big guys to get to the back room.
In the back room, blackjack tables, crap games, a couple of roulette wheels, and chuck-a-lug. The Northern Kentucky clubs also brought in an astonishing roster of celebrities, some to entertain, and others just to play.
The entertainers that worked out here worked Beverly Hills because they owned the DI too. And they had to work that circuit. Vic Damone belonged to the syndicate. And when he was at the Lookout House, he was only 21 years old.
I know the Hill had Lena Horne.
Jimmy Durante. Oh, many. Al Morgan used to be Jealous Heart. Oh, Jealous Heart. After the show, everybody got up. They were all dressed pretty nice. They came in the back room and just gambled. I remember one night, Rocky Marciano come back, shoot dice, Sinatra.
Another so-called carpet joint in Newport was the Latin Quarter. Shirley, as a teenager, got her first job there in the coat room.
It was a beautiful place. Well, not nearly as pretty as Beverly, but it was a nice club. You walked in the front door, the check room was to the left. The bar was to the right, a long bar, and then to the right off there was the gambling casino.
She got the job because her mother worked in the club. That was the routine back then. No one filled out applications or went through a human resources department. To work in the joints, you had to have juice. That is, know somebody. Ivan broke into the business through his uncle Sammy.
And there was 5 of them in it. He was the big wheel. He was partners with Mo Dalitz, Meyer Lansky, probably Siegel.
It wasn't a secret that the Cleveland Syndicate controlled several clubs around the Newport area. And through the years, Newport saw its share of ugly scenes.
Really kind of rough there. I mean, if you were in competition, you would either kill someone or you'd burn down their place or threaten them. It was pretty much the bloody mob was taking care of the Newport Covington area.
Them days, they would come in like Dillinger allowed to come and try to take you out, but they were protected by the real mob guys.
A guy named Peter Schmidt had opened the Beverly Hills Country Club, and it was a really nice place, and the Cleveland mob wanted in, and he said, no, that's my place. And mysteriously, about a year later, it burned down. Well, they found out it was a Cleveland mob, but there wasn't much you're going to do about it. So he had rebuilt, and they started threatening him again, and finally he had to sell out.
And, of course, not all the establishments in the Newport area were as plush or reputable as the Beverly Hills Club.
The clubs downtown Newport were kind of like sawdust joints. They were not real classy, but they were nice. They had, if you wanted to get in, there was 2 heavy guys by the doors, and they didn't stand for no foolishness. If anybody got out of line, they just throw them right on out.
There were some sawdust or whack-out joints in every gambling town. They were small clubs, usually downtown, and they were notorious for cheating suckers and strangers out of their cash.
You get in a lot of trouble, and the games were all gaffed, fixed. You couldn't win. Girl had strippers up there and do crazy dances and spike your drinks and stuff like that.
In some joints, dealers were forced to cheat.